Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Wednesday, November the 14th, 2018. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market. Then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses. Our hypotheses are our trade plans. We do create multiple trade plans. We do not try to predict what the market's going to do. Therefore, we create multiple scenarios, hypos, and then wait for the market to open up, see who takes control, and then execute the plan that best suits the market. And then as the context changes, we adjust our plan and shift to our alternative hypotheses. A good example of that is yesterday. We've been seeing a lot of it lately because of the range extensions. We'll talk about that in just a minute. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog. We do everything live here in the go-to. Then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the regular trading hours. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. Previous performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. So let's take a look at yesterday. Yesterday, our main hypothesis was an open auction in range, in value. We were looking for a move up into the 2740 to 2750 area, where we were looking for sellers to step in and rotate us down towards that 2707 key line in the sand, and then basing and rotating back up and getting back inside of the prior day and closing somewhere around the 2750, which is where our yearly VPOC is right now. That was Hypo 1. Hypo 2 was a open auction in range, in value, a move down into the 19 to 07 level, and then find buyers and rotate us up through and get the continuation up towards the overnight high and the week open. That really, and we were gonna get stuck and close in the value area. We kind of got Hypo 1 and part of Hypo 2. Now, something I want to note about yesterday. Yesterday was a rotational day, a balancing day, but the balance was extremely wide. We've been seeing a lot of this lately, and a very flat, boxy profile that, didn't get any real kurtosis inside of the value. It was just one, big box because of the size of the rotations. The average rotation at the end of the day was balanced out. We had, I think it was 9 and 950. Let's just take a quick look at it. 10 and 9 1/4, 975 combined. That's big, but that's a balanced day when you've got your average up and your average down. Didn't feel like it while it was trading, because of the fact that we had such huge rotations. I mean, 11 up, 8 down, 9 up, 11 1/4, 1075, 21 1/4, 16. 19, 12. It was just incredibly, whippy. And it was, we ended up with 1.72 million. That is actually, over the normal volume. But I want you to notice the book. This is pre-market, but yesterday, the average resting order in the book, even though the volume was so heavy, was under 300. And that's very low. And that's the situation and the scenario where the algos are whipping it wherever they want, because they're just, there's no real iceberg to get caught up in. They just, they want to take it up 4 or 5 points, no problem. Okay, they just eat up those orders, and it was a back and forth, and it all centered around the yearly VPOC, this 27.50, 27 1/4 area, and we're just continuing to auction this distribution zone now that we're back inside of this big balance. So in essence, it was a balancing day. We did have a pretty weak low. I was looking for continuation in the overnight session. We did get the continuation. We only went down to the 27.11, and then what do? We rotate all the way back up, and now we're pressing the highs, and we're likely going to put in new highs in the for the Globex session. We've got a weak high going here at the 27.43.75 with almost a double top with that last move off the news. So let's take a look at the news. We had core CPI. It came out pretty much as expected. A little bit of a beat on the CPI index NSA. But other than that, we basically came out as expected. We've got 10 o'clock, we've got Fed Quarles speaking. 11 o'clock, we've got the Cleveland CPI. Then we've got, at 4:30, we've got the API weekly crude oil, and then we've got daily speaking at 5 o'clock, and then we've got at 6 o'clock. So this Globex session, when Powell speaks tonight at 6 o'clock, could be interesting. We could see some movement in the Globex, but for the most part, we don't have a lot of news in terms of economic scheduled news. This market's being driven by headline news. We've got Brexit right now. We've got the election recounts and China and North Korea, and that's what's really driving this market. We still are in the tail end of earnings. So we had Macy's came out as a beat. Canopy, the marijuana stocks are getting hit pretty hard. Canada Goose came out with a beat. I mean, for the most part, again, the earnings have not been bad. After the market, we've got Cisco Systems, NetApp, NetTease. Those are the big ones. Not a lot of other market moving ones that will come out tonight. But again, I think it's going to be all about Fed Speaker Powell going into the Globex. So each day I like to take a look at the macro. I do a very simple exercise, simple candlestick chart with a 9 EMA and a 20 SMA. And what I'm looking for is where we are in terms of the trend. What is the strength of the trend? Do we have good slope, good separation, price paralleling the 9? Or are we seeing the trend being challenged by a break of the 9? Or are we seeing a possible trend change with a break of the 9 and the 20? You can see on the monthly, very strong trend up. They come back and they challenge the trend in October, and then they bounce right back up inside of the 9 and the 20, and that's where we sit and chop right now. And we need to get back above that 65 area to get this continuation pattern of the trend. If we break back below the 2650 area, then we've got a possible trend change on the monthly. On the weekly, we are below the 9 and the 20, and we continue to fail to get back above the 9. We're getting a start of a downward trend, slope and separation, but the buyers are really battling this area in the low 2700s. It's the sellers just can't get any traction and get back and hold below that 2700, and very strong velocity moves to the upside, and you can see that just in yesterday's move, this very high velocity move that moved very quickly through the whole range and extended up and created our neutral day. We did get a neutral day with the break of the IB to both sides. And we did not go neutral extreme. It looked like it was going to go neutral extreme up, but then they rotated all the way down, and it's very rare that you see a break of the IB and then a break of the other IB and neutral, and then go all the way back down and break the IV to the other side as well. And I thought we were going to get a liquidation break into close, but the buyers, they're relentless. They're not letting it go. They're battling down here. Somebody's finding value and accumulating down here. Going to the daily, you can see that we took back the downward trend, but now they've broken back below and we're going sideways. We don't have slope and separation, but we are at a decision point, and we're likely to get a move out of this balance. Whether it'll be today or not, I don't know. This is a pretty strong balance area, but no real trend on the daily, but we are seeing some weakness. Going to the 4-hour, we have been in this downward trend, good slope and separation, and this move back up is above the 9 is challenging it. We need to give above the key line in the sand above, which is still at that 51 area, to get the trend change and possibility of a move to an upward trend. And then just going to the 30-minute, you can see that we're back above the 9 and the 20, and we're getting a possible trend change here from this small little trend down and possibly get continuation up. If we take a look at the structure, well, it's pretty obvious that we've come back down into this microcomposite VPOC, which is basically our yearly VPOC at the 27. Is it 20? It's 2750, 27.25 area, and we also have the two other VPOCs that I was talking about, the microcomposite VPOCs. This one at 20.25 and this one at 21. Now I want to throw another. I'm just going to throw it on because I want to show you. This shows it right here that we do have another microcomposite VPOC imbalance, which it looked like we were coming back up into and going to hold before they broke down on Monday. But if I take a profile and put it from the breakdown day, okay, and through that move down into the 2603 and then bring it up here, the microcomposite for that time frame is up here at the 7150, and that's why this 51 is so important, because if we get above the 51 and hold, we've got a pretty strong target up here in the 7150, and remember that our week open is at 78.75, so they could go for the week. But right now we're stuck in this distribution around this huge magnet, okay, which is the yearly VPOC, which is at that 2750 area. Overnight inventory is pretty balanced. They opened, they moved up, they put in that high at 43.75, then they rotated all the way through, take it down, extend the low, get down to the 11, don't get quite to the 7, the buyers step in and they rotate us, and what do? Take us completely up through the whole range again, and here we are banging on the high. I expect this overnight high to extend. Well, there it is. It's extending right now. It was weak, so now we have a new overnight high, which is at 44, and again, we'll have to wait to see how high this gets. The volume for overnight is also about 3 times normal. So we've got OTF activity. So we'll be looking for OTF to continue to be on this into the RTH. And if we continue to get OTF activity, I'm looking for the possibility of the breakout. And I'm looking for a breakout to the upside on my hypo 1. So we now have 44.50, so we just have to go 44.50, and we'll wait to see how high that gets. Did we just bounce off of that upper Keltner on the PNF? Not yet. Okay, so I have to readjust my average true range targets, 27, 44, 50. Our daily full session, average to range, 20 period is running at 55.40. So off of the overnight high, our downside daily ATR is all the way down at 26.89 and a quarter. And off of the overnight low of 27.11, our upside daily ATR target is up at 27.6650. So that's a pretty big, possibility of range for the day, which could be a completely engulfing of the prior day range. The VPOC happens to be right sitting on top of that Globex VPOC, just above it, 28 and a quarter. And our value area from yesterday, believe it or not, even though it's so wide, it is value. It was a balancing day. They couldn't come to a consensus. Remember that most of the day, the VPOC sat up here at the 37.50. So this is a good target below the 40. If we get back inside of the value, below the 40, this 37 and a quarter is a really good target. Between this 35 and a quarter. We do have a LVN that got filled in, and I was using the LVN at 34.75 up to the 35 and a quarter as my over underline. But I'm going to shift that now because of the fact that we've got this value area and we put in a higher. So the value area high is going to become my over underline today. It was going to be the 34.75 to 35 and a quarter. You could use that still, but I think that there's better evidence with the value area high, and if we break at the value area high of seeing a push up into that 50 area, 51. So in terms of inventory, the inventory is pretty balanced overnight. So we could immediately break out, but I still think we'll see a little bit of balancing and a move back down towards this 34 area. So in terms of hypotheses, I am looking for a open auction in range, just inside of value. I'm looking for a rotation down into the 34 to 27 area. I'm looking for buyers to step in, rotate us up, take out the overnight high, and keep pushing through to the 50-50, and then break through and push up and take out the 27.55.75 high from yesterday and push up into this 65 area. The key target above is 62.50. That is hypo 1. Equally weighted because we're inside of this balance and we might not get away today yet. I'm looking for an open auction just in range. Just inside value, or just outside of value, but inside a range. I'm looking for a move up into the 50 area, and somewhere between 50 and 56 area, maybe even a little bit higher. I'm looking for a false breakout or a failure to break out, and then a rotation down through and come back down into this 27.50 and basically get a lot more of this wide rotational chop around the 27.50. That is hypo 2. Hypo 3 is a gap and go, not a gap outside a range, but a gap outside of the close. And I'm looking for an open test drive, failure to get below the 33 and a quarter. Buyers take control early, rotate us up through the 51, come up into the 56 area, break up, and then come up into the 62 to 65 area, and then get continuation and get a trend day up, okay, into the week open up here, up at the 77.50, 78, 75 area. That is my hypo 3. Hypo 4 is a failure day. open auction just outside of range or just inside of, I'm sorry, just outside of value or just inside of value, but inside of range. Open test drive, fail to take out the overnight high or quickly take it out and fail. And then sellers take control, rotate us down into this area, chop in this area again for a good portion of the day, and then get a liquidation break, take out the overnight low, come down to this 2707, fail, and push through down into this 2692 to 95 level. That is my hypo 4. Fifth alternative is another wide balancing day, but inside of the prior day range. So basically we open up and we just start rotating, okay, inside of yesterday's range as they still continue to chop around this distribution zone right here that we're in between the 51 and the 93. And I'm going to adjust this up to the 51. So those are all my hypotheses for ES. Just quickly look at gold. Gold is back inside of this balance area, centered around the 2702. The 3-day balance is 1202. 3-day balance is 1203.60. We're fighting the 1200. My hypothesis is we're having trouble holding here. We're likely to come down a little bit further into the 1100s and challenge these fractal lows. It's going to be very tough with gold right here. I mean, we did make a $42 move down. That's generally a good size rotation. So just keep an eye on this 1205 to 1206 area. If they can get above that, then I'm off of the shorts and I'm back onto the longs and looking for a rotation back up to this balance area that we just fell out of with this move down. But if they can't get above the 1205, 1206 area, then we're likely to see them come down a little bit further and possibly see this 42 leg get extended. But this is the average size of the rotation. Usually between 38 and 43, I'm looking for a counter rotation. Anyway, that's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.